Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Affinity League Segment Match 5. We are desperately fighting to gain our entry fee back, plus a chest if we win this one. Um, it depends on our hands, depends on the match. We shall see how things pan out. This league started with a rough start. Lost to Infect and Hollow One decks. And we've made a slight comeback against Jund and Storm. So, hoping for, at the very least, a competitive final match for this particular league. If it's not a win, I'd at least like to go out with a fight. But we shall see. Depends on how long it takes to actually find an opponent. I should maybe consider starting to commence recording once the match is actually found. Because you only lose like 15 seconds for the intro. Yes, we would like to play first. This is a fine hand. Yes, I like this hand very much. There are only a couple other hands that would be better. So we'll just dump all these shenanigans and have Blast up for any turn 1 stuff. And we can land Master of Ethereum next turn, provided no other insanity. Alternatively, we could play that Ravager to try to protect anything we might play. Being a mountain left untapped, I have to suspect Lightning Bolt, which would mean Vault Scourge would hit the hay. I actually need to tap the Vault Scourge in order to play Master of Ethereum. I think that is a fine play. Makes the most use of our mana, and makes our board presence better. Then next turn we can play either Overseer or Ravager, leaving up Blast again. Vault Scourge is probably likely to die here. Yeah. Oh. It's the mirror. Or, at the very least, some form of it. Which means Overseer is going to be very important. They landed one faster than we did, but we can just bolt theirs. Well, Blast, but close enough. Yeah, still more important to play our Overseer. Red to cast. Blast. And yeah, with that gives us quite the edge. Alright. Edge Champion's out. Thoughtseize is in. Blast is in. I think Grid, yeah. To have extra answers. And then, in this matchup, Pest is a little slow and vulnerable to not be able to do much. So with that, we shall proceed. These next matchups rely heavily, or depend heavily on what both players' draws are. This is not an explosive hand at all, but it can maybe get somewhere with plating. And if we draw a colored source, we can Thought Seize. Is it too slow? It has a route that it can go, so I think I will keep. If they have any sort of explosive beginning, though, that puts us in a pickle. Okay, so much for that. Ooh, Overseer's really good. And we have a slightly better turn one than they do. Overseer, so we will be one step behind as far as that goes. But with Ravager, so we're still on the super slow route. But we have a third land, and unless they leave up a blocker, plating onto Scourge seems pretty decent. They have no colored mana. Neither do we, but well, now they have Scourge, which they can leave up as a blocker. Well, sorry. They will leave up as a blocker. Which means I think I go the Ravager right now. Yeah, probably Ravager and Scourge. Activate Overseer. Our best bet is drawing into an Opal and... Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Get in for the Infect. And that's just going to start getting worse because we are an activation behind with Overseer. Citadel's okay because it's fuel for Ravager. Ravager can actually make our blocks. Oof. 2 Nexi. Which means I'm not really going to be able to sneak past. Which means this is, yeah, an attrition battle, which they are slightly ahead on. I am putting more onto the field, which is good. But, I need something extra in order to break ahead of this. I don't think it is profitable to attack. Yet. Though I guess this does force some sort of a block. If I were to try to attack. It kills something. Potentially. But I could Ravager onto it for it to make it not die. It's a fairly aggressive line. But what, they probably activate some flyers, block. Yeah, I think right now this is an attrition matchup that I need to hold back for now. Pushing it doesn't profit me very much quite yet. Plus, with the crackback on Infect, that starts getting nasty. And they probably don't even block with the next eye, they just block with the Scourge, which will trade in the current. And I think I need Ravager in order to make whatever attack I have lethal, not sufficient. And I don't have a way to instant equip the plating, so that doesn't help. Yeah, I'm gonna pass. And they're going to activate a bunch of their manlands and activate Overseer. This particular attrition war I am lagging behind on, but having plating might be giving me enough of an edge. Holy manlands. So Grid's no longer a live draw. I'm not even sure what I can draw. Maybe another Overseer to just start winning the attrition race. Very quickly, spells such as Galvanic Blast and others are going to be outclassed. Just because everything's going to be too large. I think Ravager might be my current key. The biggest thing is I need to not lose on time. Having another Ravager is actually pretty good. Can I get lethal? I don't think so. I don't have a way to instant equip plating, which means, at best, the action I'm taking will prevent it from dying, which then means the crackback might be pretty painful. Whatever attack I make, when I finally do make it, it needs to be lethal. I can hold my own for the most part right now. Swinging in does force a block on their part, though. And I do have other flying blockers. And they probably just block with Volt Scourge. And then they lose none of their protected stuff. Ugh, this is tough. I've never been in a situation like this before. I think I'm just gonna go for it. Because the longer I hold off on here, the more likely it is that one of them getting through is lethal. And by more likely, I mean it's inevitable if neither of us do anything. So swinging with Volt Scourge allows me to press the advantage in a way. I can protect it by sacrificing one of the Ravagers. It depends on how much they block. If it blocks with just a Scourge, they can buff up this Scourge to a 4/4, as can I. I can protect it by sacrificing this newer Ravager and dumping a whopping 2 counters on it. which still leaves me with 2 flying blockers, which is enough to stave off the ink moths, which is what we're worried about. There's also the chance they just let it through. Okay, that is what I expected. Which means I activate the Nexus. I activate my Overseer, which will force him to activate his. Okay. So this forces the block that I was hoping to force. Gained a bunch of life, so we're safe as far as that goes. And we're going to equip over to this Volt Scourge. And end the turn. Leaves me with 2 flying blockers, which is all I really need right now. And they are stuck with a bunch of probably colored spells in hand. I'm stuck with 1. I'm ahead on life, so we're not worried there. I have plating on 2 Scourges, so I'm not worried there. I think pretty much the only concern are these 2 bad boys right here. Oh, I didn't bring an Ancient Grudge. That was dumb. How did I not bring an Ancient Grudge? Oh, wow. Alright, well. What did I bring in? I brought in the... Took out Champs. Ooh, now they have a Ravager. Let's start make... Oh. But they tapped the Nexus. Interesting. So I'm no longer ahead on this. Okay, another Nexus is good. Another Nexus is very good. This... Oh, and the Volt Scourge is ahead on counters, so that forces a block. Well, not necessarily, but it kind of does. So, combat. Yeah. Do I actually have lethal if I swing in? There's a chance I do. I think we go ham. And I can leave up those 2. I think I have to not activate either of these. Unless it forces lethal by doing so. Because I for sure need to leave them up for blocks. So I can block both of the next eye. Which means they don't get counters, but that should be fine. So this will be probably chump, chump. Well, maybe even chump sack. That does diminish the mana he has. Yeah, the most important is that I don't do something that messes up how I can block. I think I like this attack because I have a strong side of the field that doesn't take mana to do anything with. I don't even necessarily have to activate Steel Overseer, which would be good. This is one of the tougher affinity battles I've had. I like this. I probably should have been doing a little more math than guessing. Currently swinging for 19, 23, 25. But I think it's a fairly easy decision to probably chump, eat, and chump, eat. Which means they only take 6. Which makes the swing much less lethal and much less scary for them. Alternatively, yeah, it's definitely a tough decision. That one's easy. That makes sense. My question is whether or not the opponent will try to kill a Scourge rather than merely chump it. It was actually probably safer to just get in with, you got way better draws. Yeah, I'll have to agree. Anyway, as I was saying, it might have been better to just attack with this Scourge, because it still represents a significant threat. It doesn't expose me. Yeah, because I don't even have to do anything. He just loses these lands, I do nothing. The damage goes through, and I hold off on Steel Overseer. Okay. Oh, tapping to activate the next eye to activate Overseer. now you sacrifice them. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, that... Still not lethal to any of my guys. Yeah, he's eating them. And for kicks, I move this over here with my 1 mana. And pass. Oof, another land. Not exactly what the opponent was looking for there. Yeah, and with that attack, I think I'm starting to get way ahead. Because I can easily pay that life. Oh shoot. I guess I should have left it on those. Oh well. Still going to swing in for a very large amount. Yeah, alright. Cool, so we got... excuse me. So we got our entry fee back plus 1 treasure chest. That was a decent end to the night. Yeah, okay, so we would have been able to play Thought Season, and Grid wasn't going to do anything there. Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. You know, with them, as a fellow Affinity player, sticking with that many cards in hand and not being able to play them. That would have been quite a different match had he drawn a colored source. Ancient Grudge would have probably killed... Well, it depends on what colored source, but say it was Opal, say it was Drum. Probably would have killed Plating or Overseer, and then Overseer or Plating, depending on which one they found more threatening right away. My guess would be Overseer, since that was continuing to grow my board as his board was growing. But in that standoff, my draws were definitely better because they did not require colored sources. As simple as that, I think. Well, thanks for watching this league. We'll catch you in the next one. Oh, and side note, I know last league I'd said it wouldn't be until next week, but I got excited to play another league, so I'm not going to make such claims anymore on the event that I just record some random episodes. This one will be slightly delayed from completion this evening because I'd like to try to trim up the match 3 recording. But without further ado, catch you next time.